If you haven't seen Haggerty's Barn Find Hunter, you really should. I actually really enjoy this show. How cool would it be to drive around the country looking for classic cars? It's become painfully obvious that this is pretty much the only way to find a true gem, because there are just so many other people looking for the same thing you are. That means you have to pay more for cars that 10, 15, 20 years ago were worth a fraction of their value. A perfect example is this 1991 Acura NSX with 5,000 kilometers. I missed this one. It's one of those snooze-you-lose moments because I hummed and hawed, and I thought I could get it for cheaper. Well, it got stolen from underneath me. So now I've come to the conclusion, it's better to pay a bit more, get the car, put a smile on your face, than live with the regret. Now, this 1966 912 wasn't really a barn find, it was more an exercise in patience. You see, it was owned by this retired couple, and every couple years it would get towed back into my repair shop. One year it would be the battery, the next it would be flooded, the next after that it would be the starter motor. I mean, it's a 53-year-old car. For 9 or 10 years, I just sat patiently waiting. I always made them aware that if they ever wanted to sell this car, that I would most definitely take it off their hands. They finally decided it was time, and we put that deal together in the spring of 2019. They wanted a lot of money for the car, and, well, I had a long-term relationship, so I wasn't going to lowball them on the offer. So we came up with something that is fair, even though it's more than I wanted to pay for it. Well, since it's up in the air, let's take a look at it right now. We just finished repairing the valve covers on this car. It had a little bit of a leak from the driver's side and the passenger side valve cover. The springs were old and somewhat tired. The spring wasn't applying enough pressure to the valve cover to seal the valve cover, so we've put 2 sets of valve covers in it now, trying to stop the leak, and finally I just ordered a new set of springs, and that should take care of it. And got a little bit of oil. So like I said before, the floors have been changed on this car, and they're actually in pretty good shape. No corrosion holes. The only corrosion on the car right now. A little bit of that fender right there, and a little bit of that rocker panel right there. That's got to get addressed. As you can see, it's been repainted. There's no question that this car is not original paint. It's not. The passenger side is older paint. The driver's side was done, that was repaired a little while ago. You can see one of my earlier videos with that. That was with the previous owner. And interior of the car is solid, but needs the seats need to be reupholstered or replaced. I'm probably going to replace them with something with a headrest on it. Got some corrosion right there. This carburetor is leaking. That carburetor is leaking. The tubing for the heat, the rear heat has to, it's been, I'm sure that's not the stock hose. But it's to be expected. Everything is solid. Alrighty, here we go. This car has 90 horsepower, and that's what it had when it was brand new, so I'm sure it's less than that now.
I'm going to go to the stable. How many horsepower do you need?
I got 90. Well, when it was new, it had 90.
So how many do you need? Like 6 horses? You need 7 horses to get you going?
I think I need about 50.
Okay.
Get about 4 or 5 guys to give me a push.
No, horses. They'll pull you.
You pull me, right?
No horses.
That's Daryl. He's the event organizer, and he's full of attitude. Don't you worry, I only auto-crossed it once. It's just too slow. When you think about what a Volkswagen Beetle probably had, what, 50? 90 is a generous amount more. It requires a very gentle clutch feathering. It just doesn't have enough torque. Massage it, get it going, and once it's up and moving, the horsepower is quite usable, and there's not a lot to it. It's kind of fun. Now, when I was repairing this car for the customer who owned it before, whenever I would test drive it, I never felt right in it. It just scared the life out of me driving a car without seatbelts. Yeah, the knob just fell off of my hand. Go figure that. The window. Oh man. Put that back on. Okay. I don't daily drive it because, hey, I want to keep the miles off of it, so I will probably only, if I put 2,000 miles on it this summer, I'll be really surprised. I'm fairly sure I'm only going to put another couple hundred on it before the season's off. Hang on, I got a heat in here that I got to stop. It's getting hot. This body style, you know, this is a 912, and basically the difference between a 912 and a 911 are just the motor only and a few minor other changes, but for the most part it's a 911 with a 4-cylinder in it. Very, very simple car, and sourcing the parts is not that bad because there's a lot of vendors available to purchase parts for it. It's just a matter of timing to wait for the parts, order parts, wait for parts, and fix accordingly. Being in Canada makes it a little more difficult, but not that much. As long as you're willing to pay the Pure Later FedEx charges on it, you can get stuff pretty quick. As far as attention goes, you know, this car actually generates a fair amount of attention. Especially with Porsche owners, you know, like you get a lot of people who are Porsche enthusiasts, and they are driving down the road in a Porsche. They're like, hey, you know, pretty cool. So it works. I like it. It's a cool car. It's a pleasure to drive, and I've already had a great summer with it. I've had a really enjoyable summer with driving this car. Anyways, I'm here now. I'll be back at you in a bit. Alright. Ciao.